Well, we got this awesome picture of Trump. He's like, I just keep winning, and I keep winning, and I keep grinning. So the tariffs aren't a total loss, guys. It's not a total loss. He's got other means. We can get the tariff thing rolling. But we do have breaking news. A massive win for Donald Trump. U.S. court rules in favor of President Trump and Scott Bassett. IRS sharing data with DHS and ICE to speed deportations. Let's go! It's another victory for deportation. Wow. And that's amazing, right? Are we glad? Yes, we are. Woo, woo! Somebody wrote, finally using the IRS for something good. Track down these people. Nice. I like it. Got a little bit more breaking news, but first, before we go any further, make sure you're hitting that like button, right? Get the algorithm, and make sure you're subscribing, for sure. Now, we got the blue book. And this blue book is... This book is a retarded book. This book has the names of people who've made the 2026 retard list. And ladies and gentlemen, this book it's filling up fast. It's filling up fast. Let's see, we got 3.5 pages so far. So we're getting there. And again, I'll remind you, I didn't remind anybody in the last few shows that you see somebody, a host of a show, a politician, whoever, if they did something, said something retarded, let me know in the comments, and I get it verified that they are retarded, they'll be added to the book. And I'll put your name, your screen name beside it. And at the end of the year, we're going to go over all the people who made the retarded book. Now, I did have a few entries from yesterday and today. Senator Warnock of Georgia. I profiled him yesterday in my show, and because he made the retarded list, is that he stood on the site where Alex Preddy was shot by federal officers doing their job, getting rid of illegals. And this retard called it holy ground. You can't make this stuff up. Senator Warnock of Georgia, he called it holy ground where Preddy was killed. And he says Preddy's blood is crying out. Yeah, he made the retarded list. And I added Ilhan Omar. Now, she should have already been on the list with, because I've got Tampon Tim even on the first page, but there's such a list of things to add her for being retarded. But there was a video of her on February 20th of her, she tried rushing back to Minnesota to play the savior for a group of illegals. But ICE beat her there and deported all of them. And then I just have notes of her involvement in the Minnesota fraud, her bank accounts. She helped pass the bill for Feed the Children and all the millions of dollars. So what I do is I put their name, right, and then I give a description of why they are retarded. So we're almost over with the second month of February, so we're fixing to head into March, and I've got 14 names, and there's going to be more. We're going to add more names, so we got 14 names so far. Let me know if there's anybody else that needs to be on there that are absolutely retarded, and I'm sure I've missed some, but yeah. I'm pretty sure that book is going to get pretty full by the end of the year. Breaking news, Speaker Johnson eviscerates the Democrats for pathetically hosting 5 counter events to boycott President Trump's SCOTUS address tonight. And that is retarded. They have nothing to offer. All they do is shut down the government and obstruct. Here, 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 here. It doesn't matter how many little gatherings they have or where they stand or how high the volume is on the microphone. You know that? It's the same tired playbook that they've ran for a decade now. It's shameful that they would boycott an address. I mean, the right doesn't do that. I mean, I couldn't stand listening to Obama speak, but I watched some of the stuff, and it was like you just had to, I'm going to boycott it, but man, it was painful listening to Obama speak. Is anybody looking back and going, was I in a fog? Was I in a cloud? Because everybody said he was articulate. He was such an articulate speaker. We're gonna go forward, cause we're not gonna go back. And this is what I heard, listening to him speak all the time, and it was cringe. To me, it was cringe every time I heard somebody go, "Obama's just so articulate in speaking, and he's so charismatic, and blah blah blah." I was like, "What?" Like, I think everybody was delusional for some reason. Republicans don't do that. It doesn't matter if there's a president from the opposite party. We don't skip out, which is true. Everybody shows up. Our constituents want and need us to be here. Every member of the House Representatives, over 75,000 people, they're just disenfranchised if you're not sitting in the seat to be a part of the role and responsibility of Congress. So I guess we'll see tonight who all is going to show up to the State of the Union's address. I'm definitely going to show up. I mean, by via satellite, YouTube, and I will be looking at it at the White House YouTube page. I really like it, the White House YouTube page. I found it to be the best one with less interruptions with commercials. So that's just a little heads up. I recommend you watch it on the White House YouTube page. It's really, really good. All right, now to crap that's happening around the country. Sometimes it's just like, it's so depressing. But we have some good news because somebody got fired, and I like the sound of that. Fort Bragg trans teacher who also identifies as a wolf. Really? And scared children into believing he was going to eat them, has been fired, according to Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. Really?
He identifies as a female and also as a wolf. And he comes to class on occasion with a tail out of his pants, dragging behind him like he is a wolf. He has gone by different names. He actually has the children howling in the classroom like a wolf because he identifies not only as a female, but he identifies as a furry, an animal. And there's a reason for that because that's sexually provocative. And that's another whole story. But one of the children came home and told her mommy, she said, "Mommy, I'm scared he's going to eat me." The mother said, "Who's going to eat you?" The daughter replied, "Miss Roxy, he told us again he turns into a wolf at night." Another child told the mother that Miss Roxy likes to have us howl like wolves. One of these children also said, "Mommy, Miss Roxy says he was born in a male's body, but he's actually a woman, but he likes boys." This individual is absolutely bizarre. He goes by all kinds of names like Roxanne Wildheart, Miss Roxy, Captain Roxy, Cody Wildheart, a Little Death Howl, Artemis Death Howl, and also Savage Beast Queen. He tells the kids to call him by those names.
Lord.
And he has on his social media a picture of a teddy bear with a knife in its neck and blood splurting from the teddy bear. He has an AR-15 rifle there also with a teddy bear. And it says, quote, "Do a crime." That's on his social media. So the parents brought this to the authorities at Fort Bragg. And they said, well, they can't do anything about it because this person is trans and identifies as a female and has a right to be able to do so.
What?
So that's why they contacted Liberty Counsel. We've now sent them a demand letter. They have not yet positively responded. We've said this person needs to get removed from the classroom.
You guys at Liberty say that this case involves sexual harassment of children. I mean, why hasn't the DOD school not intervened? I mean,
Yeah.
for what reason have they not done something about it?
You know, this is, I think, the illustration of the depth of the woke agenda that some of the military has sunk to. Now, obviously, President Donald Trump and Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, they're cleaning up the military, but they're doing it at the top, and it needs to sometimes trickle down to the bottom. And so some of this stuff that we are encountering, and this is probably one of the most bizarre, is still happening. So we're now going to file suit, bring this to the attention of the Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and President Donald Trump.
Yeah. What a psycho. And this stuff is still happening, man. Well, apparently, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth announcing the firing of a transgender pre-K teacher at Fort Liberty's Mildred E. Poole Elementary School. Boy, that's a mouthful. Who identifies as a wolf named Lilith Deathhowl. So where did he come up with the name Lilith? That's creepy and demonic all at the same time. And allegedly terrified students by growling and pretending to eat them, leading to the nightmares and anxiety among children. I don't think that's allegedly. I think the kids were telling the truth. Parents first reported the teacher's behavior, including wearing fetish collars, tails, and women's clothing in early 2025. But the DODEA administrators dismissed complaints citing protected transgender status. Renewed reports in January 2026 prompted intervention by Liberty Counsel, resulting in the termination confirmed by Hegseth on February 20th, 2026. Now, I hope they keep track of him, that he doesn't just go to another county, another place, and get hired as a teacher. And you know, I brought you the story yesterday of President Trump signing into law the Angels Day. February 22nd is Angels Day for the people who were killed by illegals. Just in, Angel Mom Patty Morin scorched the Democrats. They look at us U.S. citizens as just casualties. They're not emotionally invested. It doesn't move them. It's like they lack empathy. No, because it's not affecting them. They don't care. It's not part of their agenda. They want the illegals here. I don't get it, right? I mean, we can all sit here and try to figure out something that's illogical and try to make logical sense of it. But the only conclusion that you could come to is there's an agenda behind it of why would you want so many illegals in the country unless you want them for votes. You want them to keep you in power. That makes sense. Now, is it logical? No. But it makes sense as this is what they're doing. And we've had every degree and turn and point that we can look at that heads us into that direction, that is the conclusion. That's what they want. Why would you fight tooth and nail, stir up trouble, create logistics to create peaceful protests all across the country to stop ICE agents from deporting people, even though they repeatedly said they're getting out the worst of the worst, and then we'll work on the other ones as we go. Right? We'll work on the other ones. Apparently, there's been like a whole bunch of kids in Minnesota ain't been going to school. Now, why would that be? Why would that be? Now, if they're not going to school, the schools aren't going to get money because you got to be in school. You got to be enrolled. And we've all heard about the phantom children enrolled in these schools, and the schools are getting all this extra money for thousands of kids that don't even exist. We did a story a while back on that as well. But look, so so the bottom line is, if these kids aren't going to school because they're scared, why are you scared? Because your parents are illegal and you're illegal. Y'all are illegal. that would be the only conclusion I could come to.
They're looking at American citizens as just casualties. And because they're not personally and emotionally invested, it doesn't move them. It's like they lack empathy. And to them, having an agenda and having a political plan to go forward in that agenda.
Oh my God.
They're missing.
What's happening here with Dude's eye? What is happening?
Missing out on the humanity of all of this. It affects, they estimate like 25,000 people a year. That's a low estimate. 25,000 people a year being murdered and killed by illegal immigrants.
Damn.
And I've met illegal immigrants in my hometown that they've told me they're here illegally. They don't commit crime. Even they don't want the criminals here. That's part of the reason why they left. And so President Trump removing our country of these murderers and just literally criminally insane people is the right thing to do.
Yes.
President Trump cares about the everyday person.
Yes.
He truly does. And he wants to make America safe. And to have an agenda that puts your political career ahead of the American people, the American children and families, I think is just an horrendous and horrible and godless and inhumane thing to do. And I think they need to get on board with President Trump.
Yeah, it totally is inhumane. It's mind-boggling. I know this is a serious thing, but what is up with Dude's eye? Yeah, and apparently CNN did cover it. Trump did an hour thing honoring the families and setting the day aside to honor the families that have all been killed by illegals. And CNN aired it, but PMSNBC didn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Yeah. Well, let's give you a little backstory on Rachel Morin, the lady you just heard speak, by saying the Democrats just view Americans as casualties, and they don't care. They don't care. They're lined in their rich mansions. It's the wealthy that's prospering from this, and then giving the handouts to the illegals just to keep them voting for them. Rachel Morin's Patty's daughter and mother of 5 was raped. I got to be careful, guys. I could get flagged. And bludgeoned over 20 times to death on a Maryland trail, August 23rd, 2023, by El Salvadorian illegal immigrant Victor Martez Hernandez, who received a life sentence in August 2025 after evading capture across multiple states. Proclaimed by President Donald Trump on February 22nd, 2026, the event highlights ongoing advocacy by angel families for border security reforms, with the Post garnering. It's going to tell us what the Post is garnering. We're going to honor some of the victims of illegal immigrants that these judges in some of these states and the police in these sanctuary cities who would find these criminals, arrest them because they've done something, and then they release them back into the wild, and then we have innocent victims. You should be outraged that this has been going on. 25,000 a year killed by illegals. Lincoln Riley, which is we've heard so much about Lincoln Riley. She is always referred to a lot in these cases, was a 22-year-old nursing student at Augusta University who was murdered on February 22nd, 2024 while jogging near the University of Georgia campus in Athens. Her killer, Jose Antonio Arabra, a Venezuelan national who entered the U.S. illegally, was convicted and sentenced to life in prison without parole. He should have been executed. This case has been highlighted in discussions about immigration policy and crimes committed by undocumented individuals. Similar cases often involve victims killed by undocumented immigrants, frequently cited in debates over border security. Note that studies such as those from Texas data indicate undocumented immigrants have lower homicide convictions rates than native-born Americans. Let's say 2.2 versus 3.0 per 100,000, though individual tragedies like these fuel political discourse. Look, one is too many. Of course, we have our own crime. Every country does. More countries have worse crime than we because they're third world low IQ. They're savages. We're going to have our own crime. Duh. Why do we want to import more crime? These people wouldn't be dead if the illegals weren't in and just set free. And just set free. So I've got a chart here where we have. This is Rachel Morning. She's the mother we just heard in the show on the Fox Morning Show, where dude's eye is like something's wrong with his eye. August 2023, Hartford County, Maryland. 37-year-old mom of five raped and bludgeoned to death on a hiking trail. Victor Martez Hernandez, undocumented from El Salvador, arrested in 2024 after fleeing across state lines. So we have victim, date and location, details, and predator's status. Joyce Nungri, June 2024, Houston, Texas. 12-year-old girl lured from a convenience store, raped, strangled, and dumped in a creek. Johan Jose Martez Wrangled. Why are they all named either Jose or Martez? And Franklin Jose Reno Ramos, undocumented from Venezuela, both charged with capital murder. Dang, 12-year-old kid. Wow. Again, she'd be alive if Biden didn't just have the border wide open, just wide open. And these deaths are just senseless. They shouldn't have happened, and they're horrific. My goodness. Kaylin Hamilton, July 2022, Aberdeen, Maryland. 20-year-old artistic woman raped and strangled in her trailer home. Unnamed, undocumented from El Salvador, MS-13 game affiliated, convicted and sentenced to life. Why are we not executing these people? What is happening? Why are we not? Why are we not doing that? Kate Stein, July 2015, San Francisco, California. 32-year-old woman fatally shot on a pier on an accidental discharge. Jose Izel Gonzalez Zarat, undocumented from Mexico, 5-time deportee, acquitted of murder by convicted on gun charges. Sarah Root, January 2016, Omaha, Nebraska, 20-year-old recent graduate killed in a drunk driving crash. Edward Maja, undocumented from Honduras, charged with motor vehicle homicide but fled. So there's no report on here that they got him. Lizbeth Medane, December 2023, Endor, Texas, 16-year-old cheerleader stabbed to death in her home during a burglary. Rafael Gavin Romano, undocumented from Mexico, charged with capital murder. Why are they not being executed? Ruby Garcia, March 24th, Grand Rapids, Michigan, 25-year-old woman shot and killed, body left on roadside. Brandon Ortiz Vital, undocumented from Mexico, confessed. He confessed to the crime. These cases, often invoked by the Angel families, advocate groups to push for stricter immigration enforcement, such as the Lincoln Riley Act, which mandates detention of migrants charged with certain crimes. I think if you're a migrant, you need to be detained and shipped out, and then you come back the right way. However, critics argue that such incidents are exploited, being politically and do not reflect broader crime trends among immigrants. For a more comprehensive list, organizations like FAIR document hundreds of such crimes. Well, that's just telling you can go to the Institute provided statistical context showing lower overall crime. Like we had a guy, one of those senators in my show yesterday saying that, we need to arm illegals, let them be police. Literally, that's what he's saying, because there's more crime committed by the indigenous people of the land. It was completely retarded. In fact, I need to go back over that show, get his name, and he needs to be added to the retarded book for sure. I wanted to go over some of the names of the victims. I think it deserves it, and what a day. February 22nd will be the day angel families to recognize, and I guess we'll have to add more names if more illegals commit heinous crimes in our country. Okay, retard warning. This is the most retarded advert ever. Insufferable, new woke, anti-white ad. They just keep doubling down, man. They just don't stop.
What do you mean we're lucky to be white?
It's not luck, it's privilege.
We're privileged that people see us, not a color.
Privilege that we don't get stared at when we walk into the room.
Privilege that we don't get followed by security when we go shopping. Or pulled over when we're in the wrong neighborhood.
We're privileged because society was set up for us, and our silence keeps it in place.
We're privileged, and that's unfair.
What is happening? Now, we're lucky we're white. Wow. That was so retarded. I have no words. It was just stupid. These people have been brainwashed, or they're just paid really well to say retarded things. Well, white people, no matter how liberal you are, they're still going to hate you. No matter how anti-racist you are, they're still going to hate you. No matter how loving and caring and compassionate you are towards other races, they're still going to hate you. Stop living in fantasy land. Doesn't matter what you do. I guess you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. It's retarded. Stop with the white guilt, which it doesn't even exist. I think it's just something they made up for propaganda. And I don't know. Maybe people are just acting out. If they're on a college campus or something, and then they're spouting this nonsense that they're guilt, they have some kind of white privilege. I want to know where my white privilege is for real. Like, where is my privilege card? I think the victim card works better. I'd rather have a victim card. Because I don't know where I've been privileged to be a white. So it's just a facade, and it is retarded. So we got a trans activist says they should start killing kids until trans people can use whatever bathroom they want. Let men use the women's bathrooms, or we'll kill you. There's so much tolerance and love. Now, apparently, this is a comedian.
I think we should start killing kids until they let us use whatever bathroom they want. I think we should...
I don't know what's more disturbing, what he said or the audience laughing and clapping. Let that sink in. I mean, because it's just not funny. Now, I know yesterday and even today, and I don't know, even maybe tomorrow, we'll see how the news goes, but we're still all about, we're under attack by the trans, by the left ideology, the woke. They're just going to keep doubling down. They're going to keep pushing until we just eradicate their agenda. And we've got Sharia law. We've got the Muslims breathing down our back. We've got a lot on our plate, ladies and gentlemen. We got to get these illegals out. We got to stop the Muslims from going forward. We got to stop them from building mosques. We can't be letting them have their own laws. It's retarded. What are we doing? Senator Tommy Tuberville triggered the hell out of Muslims by calling to ban Islam's Sharia laws. Is Islamic country, is it considered normal for men to marry 6-year-old women? 6-year-old girls? Rather, not women. The pedos is rampant and women are lucky if they are allowed to even drive. So I guess I read that wrong. In Islamic countries, it is considered normal for men to marry 6-year-olds. Yeah, I'm retarded. But we're going down. Here we go. We're going to keep pushing it, and we got to stomp it out, people.
Something you won't hear from the deranged leftists who run cover for Islamic extremism is about the inhumane and disgusting ways that they treat women. In Muslim countries that follow Sharia law, it is considered normal for women to be raped, trafficked, and forced to marry as young as age of 6. Pedophilia is rampant, and women are lucky if they are allowed to drive. I'm old enough to remember when Democrats championed the Me Too movement, which was self-described as a global, survival-led movement to end sexual violence. But these same Democrats who championed the Me Too movement have been radio silent when it comes to the way women are regularly treated in countries that practice radical Islam. I have yet to hear my Democrat colleagues who are siding with Hamas talk about the brutal ways Hamas has abused the women they have held hostage since October the 7th. Nor have I heard Democrats who claim to be feminists talk about the fact that some Muslims, countries that practice Sharia law, require women to be completely covered from head to toe. These women, they're not allowed to get an education, work a job, or in some cases even leave home.
Nope.
They are barred from gyms, parks, and beauty salons.
They can't read either.
They're forbidden from traveling without a male relative and are forced to wear certain clothing that covers everything but its eyes. But meanwhile, the men in these countries are allowed to abuse women, have sex with children, or have multiple wives, no problem. Everyone, but especially feminist groups, should be outraged about this horrible abuse of women. But that doesn't fit the left's narrative. So you won't hear a peep from liberal so-called feminists about the disgusting treatment of women in radical Islamic countries.
What's going on here? Wait.
But its eyes, outraged about this horrible abuse of women. But meanwhile,
she just had this look on her face.
And forced to marry.
Like the whole time she's all like, I mean, look at this concerned look on her face the whole time. I don't know, man. It's kind of creepy in a way, but are y'all thinking what I'm thinking? Like he's spatting about Sharia law and how bad they treat women, and she's sitting over here going, I guess I'm in a funny mood today. I don't know, but I can't help what thoughts come in my head. But I mean, maybe it's just innocent and she's just looking like that. But come on, man. Wow, that's crazy. Just one law firm has identified 360 teachers that are predators in California. There is an epidemic of you-know-what abuse in the state. Our firm has discovered over 360 perpetrator teachers just in California. Correct, and we believe that there's many, many, many more. We know there's many more because we certainly don't have all the cases. This is insane. This is insane.
What's the issue in the California public school system, K through 12?
The main issue is that there is an epidemic of sexual abuse in the state, by teachers, by coaches, and by other school employees. It wasn't until 2012 you could actually file a lawsuit, a civil lawsuit for damages as a victim of sexual abuse in California. And since then, our firm alone has filed dozens. Our firm alone has discovered over 350 or 360 perpetrators, teachers.
Wait, 350, 360, just in California.
Correct. And we believe there's many, many more. We know there's many more because we certainly don't have all of the cases.
What is happening? Wow. I mean, this revelation aligns with California's 2020 AB 218 law, which repealed the statute of limitations for childhood abuse claims, sparking a surge in lawsuits and multi-million-dollar settlements that have driven school districts' insurance premiums up to 300 to 500% in some areas. I guess schools need to do a better job. I think they need to go back to stop this DEI hire and get back to curriculum and have these people take tests that they can pass and background checks, peer-reviewed studies such as 2023 Journal of Child Blank Abuse Analysis confirmed underreporting in education, said its rates exceeding 90%, supporting the attorney's view that systematic failures in teacher screening enable widespread abuse affecting thousands of students annually. Overall, California Assembly Bill 218 AB. California Assembly Bill 218, known as the Child Victims Act, was signed into law in October 2019, also known as the Child Victim Act. Let's see, took effect on January 1st, 2020. Its primary amends Section 340.1 of the California Code of Civil Procedure, which governs civil actions for damages resulting from childhood assaults, previously referred to as childhood abuse. Guys, I can't say that word. You already know this, so I know it's stupid and it's retarded. The law affirms to provide greater access to justice for survivors for extended time limits for filing lawsuits and addressing barriers posted by statutes of limitations. Expanded statutes prior to AB 218, survivors had to file claims by age 26, 8 years after reaching the age of majority, or within 3 years of discovering the psychological injury caused by the abuse. Law extends to this to age 40, 22 years after majority, or within 5 years of discovering the injury, whichever is later. It created a 3-year look back period from January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2022, during which previous time barred claims could be revived and filed regardless of when the abuse occurred. This window allowed thousands of survivors to pursue legal action against perpetrators in institutions such as schools, churches, and youth organizations. It's pathetic. The term childhood blank abuse was updated to childhood blank assault and broadened to include any blank contact, penetration, or exploitation of minors under 18 by an adult, including acts like molestation, misconduct, or grooming. This expansion ensures coverage for a wider range of abuse behaviors. Let's see. If an entirety school or organization engaged in a cover-up or an assault, courts can award triple damage to the plaintiff, increasing potential liability for institutions that fail to report or abuse cases. My goodness, the schools are going to be in trouble because they be scapegoating everybody. They protect their own. The law applies retroactively to acts of childhood, you know what, assaults occurring before January 1st, 2020, and respectively to the future cases. It does not affect criminal statutes of limitations, which remain separate. Let's see, surge in litigations. Since its enact, AB 218 has led to a significant increase in lawsuits with estimates of over 3,000 claims filed during the revival window alone. This has resulted in multi-million-dollar settlements, particularly against public schools and religious institutions, causing insurance premiums to rise by 300 to 500%. Wow. So I think they settled, right? You think they just settled? They didn't go to court like, hey, man, we'll just throw a bunch of money at them. Financial strain on public entities, school districts, and other public agencies have faced substantial physical challenges, with some reporting costs in the hundreds of millions. For instance, the 2025 report highlighted the feeding frenzy of litigation and its burdens on taxpayers. Now, look, that doesn't mean that every one of them, I mean, somebody could just come out of the woodwork and claim somebody, which y'all know people do that. They can just accuse somebody. But I guess if there's some, I guess they have to have some evidence. It's almost like all those people that came out of the woodwork on P. Diddy, right? If there wasn't, they needed evidence. They needed some contact. They needed something. Pictures. I don't know. DNA. I don't know. Ongoing reforms as early as 2026. California lawmakers are debating potential reforms to AB 218 due to its high costs, including proposals to cap damages or adjust liability for public entities. However, advocates argue that the law is essential for holding abusers accountable and supporting survivors. This law was motivated by a desire to address the long-term trauma of childhood, abuse, where survivors often delay reporting due to fear, shame, and reprised memories. Wow. That's crazy, right? That is crazy. And then this is probably happening all over the country. It's insane and disgusting. I think, I don't think they should be able to settle. They need to give them the money, and then these people need to be incarcerated, or they need to be executed. Yep, I said it. So we know we had the Muslims out in New York the other night before the storm hit, and the Muslim speaker at the Times Square Ramadan prayer shows he was bragging about how Islam gave women rights. Meanwhile, the women were forced to sit at the very back of the event where they couldn't even see. So wherever the women were, they were way far away, and they were probably all just covered. And that woman you just saw, if you see any women alongside that are not covered, they're there for either reporting and for documenting. And my guy, Dr. David Wood, posted this because he was there. He was there to witness them brag and say, look at me. And then the guy's on the mic up too. I saw a video last night and he's all like, yeah, we're going to eat. We got rice and we got chicken. We got rice and we got chicken. So there you have it. I mean, just another women are mistreated right in public. You're not even letting the women pray with you, because Muhammad, the book says dogs, women, and donkeys could interfere with your prayers. It's retarded. Wow. I think it was last week when I did a show and I covered one of the schools in Texas where they had came in, the Muslims came in with a table and they were passing out hijabs and they were passing out Qurans and stuff and literature on how you can convert to Islam. But here's a parent. It says, he's saying America is a Christian nation. The principal 1 year ago, the principal on the same day, she wore a hijab. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and let this play instead of reading what he says. Okay, so listen to what he says.
America is a Christian nation.
Amen.
The principal 1 year ago, the principal on the same day, World Hijab Day, wore that hijab and said she loved it all caps. 1 year to the day later, on World Hijab Day, Sunday, Monday hits, they're putting our girls in Sharia. They're passing out Sharia pamphlets, hijabs, Qurans, understanding Islam, understanding Sharia. Sharia treats half of this room like
yeah.
And these women are not. This is not a Muslim nation. This is a Christian nation. That principal knew what she was doing, and I am not believing that was one or two people at that front desk. Fired the principal. You tell the parents, don't go online to get information, but what did they get online? Marco told the truth. That's where they got the information, and you did. Online. Telling us not to go there. This was dawah. Muslim proselytizing, dawah. It's like me as a Christian going into a school and witnessing to these kids. You want me to do that? Let's go.
You know what drives me nuts? Look at all these people sitting here that are in control of the school, the curriculum. They don't give a damn. This is why it's important. If there's voting involved to vote these people in, then you need to vote them out or get petitions to get them out and get people on there with a more of a conservative Christian viewpoint. Yeah, I said it. Because your kids are going to be healthier and they're going to be stronger and they're not going to be surrounded by pedos like we've heard these other stories we just played for you before, where you've got teachers thinking they're a wolf and they're dressed like a woman and they're a man. I mean, what is happening here? And then now we got them coming into the schools and they didn't do nothing about it. There would have been hysteria. Maybe the police would have been called if a Christian came in and set up a table and was giving out Bibles. Oh no, they didn't say nothing about these Islam people doing this. What is happening? What is happening in our country? This is absurd. This parent has to come up here, take his day off, come up here to chew their asses because they're retarded and can't do their job. Well, they're promoting alphabet soup in their schools, in their curriculum. Here's our girl, Cataline Burnett, on the ground. Hilarious white liberal women refuse to bring undocumented migrants into their homes. It's almost like the video we showed yesterday at the end of the show, where the woman's holding up signs, a whole bunch of women, defund the police, defund the police. And then sometime in the video, somebody's breaking in her house and she's calling the police, and the police, there's nobody there. There's nobody taking calls. There's nobody there. And she's like, why isn't anybody answering the police? Well, it's the same here. These people, these liberal retards, are okay for illegals, but they don't want them in their house. They don't want them in their neighborhood. So where are they going to go? It's a question you need to ask yourself.
We're asking people that agree with the things that we've talked about. They deserve a place to stay while awaiting processing.
I do agree.
You do agree?
Yes.
Will they be able to come home with you guys so they can have a place to stay?
No. I don't take people home with me off the street.
I don't bring anybody into my home I don't know.
Can they stay with you?
No, I don't know them. I mean, I wouldn't let anyone random stay at my house.
Well, if they've broken laws,
yeah, we don't
committed harsh crimes, then no. So no, they're not going home with you?
No, I don't think so.
But they should be able to stay in the country somewhere else.
Yeah.
Just not with you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to just have somebody come into my house that I have no idea who they are.
So why would you be okay with illegal aliens coming across the border and staying in our country when we don't know who they are? We're asking people that agree with the things that we've
Okay, so this lady, she just walks away because she don't want to face and answer that question. Just like a true liberal. Nope, it's got to be somewhere else. Somewhere I could just feel good about myself by saying, yeah, I'm for defund the police. I'm for illegals. I'm for Palestine. F ICE. No. These illegals can't stay at my house. Nope, they just can't. I mean, the hypocrisy knows no bounds. Well, let's hope this gets passed. Idaho HB 380, signed by Governor Brad Little in March 2025, authorizes the death penalty for aggravated blank abuse of children under 12. Despite a 2008 Supreme Court ruling, Kennedy versus Louisiana, deeming it unconstitutional for a non-homicide child rape case, marking a bold state challenge to federal precedent. I think it'll get stepped down. They can file appeal and go to the Supreme, because if the Supreme Court ruled that you can't do it. Companion bill designates firing squad What? As a primary execution method due to shortage in lethal injection drugs combining with HB 380 to enable this punishment. I am liking this. The post-graphic illustrations, police action. Oh, I didn't show y'all the picture. Let's see. National Research Council report indicate no reliable evidence that capital punishment deters you-know-what offenders, potentially prioritizing retribution over proven prevention strategies such as enhanced monitoring and therapy. The recidivism rate is too great. They cannot be cured. There is no cure. So, I think it would deter them. If there was a firing squad, this would be epic. This would be epic. So I hope it stands. I mean, each state can be sovereign, so maybe this state can do it. Grok's telling, because I looked it up, man. It's like, yeah, they worked on that bill. I'm all for it. I'm liking this Governor Brad Little. I'm liking him a lot, not just a little. Let me know what you think. Should pedos be executed with a firing squad? Because it's too hard to get the drugs to shoot them and, to let them die peacefully. Like, boom. It's going to be pretty instant. It'd be a lot quicker to just go out and do a firing squad like we used to. Oh, man. How fire mad would you be? We're almost done with the stack of stuff today. The devil is alive and well, and he is in Ventura County, California. I could have told you that. Ventura County mother speaks at a city council meeting after county officials socially transitioned her daughter without her consent. She uses her time at the podium to pray, and that's when the crowd screams and withers in pain like the prayer hurts them. They actually sound possessed, but that's not all. The mayor then interrupts her and says, "We don't do prayers. We don't do prayers." No kidding. Perhaps if they did, they wouldn't be so dad blame evil. Pay special close attention to the creep behind her with the puppet. $100 says he's on the you-know-what offenders register. So I'm going to have to move out of the way, or I could do this. I'm going to move out of the way. Let me go up here. It's going to be this guy right here. He's got some kind of puppet. Here we go.
I'm a mother of 6, and the Ventura County Public School socially transitioned my daughter without my consent. I've come here today to offer nothing but prayer, and I want to lift up my Father in heaven. Father God, I just come to you in Jesus' name. I pray, Father, that you would tear down the strongholds in this place. I pray, Father, that you would raise up the men in this room. I pray, Father, that you would...
Stop.
I pray that you would raise up
the time. Speaker.
Everybody on this... Everybody.
Stop.
Yep.
Stop. Thank you. We don't do prayer. Finish your comments, please. You have 28 seconds.
And I do pray all this in the name of the Jesus, the Son, the Father, and the Holy Spirit.
Thank you.
Jesus is the King of Kings, and he is the Lord of Lords. And I pray that all the high places here will be torn down in the name of Christ. Jesus is the Lord of Lords, and every knee will bow.
Your time is up.
Every
Your
knee
time is
will
up.
bow. I'm a mother of 6.
Wow. That was epic. Epic. And they're saying, no, we don't do that here. Wow. That's just crazy. Okay. I went and looked up this clip. The post shares a March 18, 2025 clip from Ventura City Council meeting where Mother Tyron Swanee addresses her daughter's unauthorized social gender transition. She should have sued him by school officials, then prays for the room, prompting shouts from protesters. Like, why are there protesters there? Shouldn't it just be parents? Should they have been ID'd before they were allowed to come in there? I'm just asking questions here. Because I would think if it was a room full of parents, they wouldn't be doing that, right? So why are there protesters? And I'm just asking questions, people. I mean, I don't know. Okay, So transition by the officials, then praise for the room, prompting shouts from protesters holding "Our bodies, our choice." Dang. Signs and interpretation from Mayor Jeanette Sanchez, whatever, stating "We don't do prayer." Wow. Wow. So Sanchez is a Mexican. She's probably, is she a DEI hire? Is she even an American citizen? Just asking questions here. And why would people shout "Our bodies, our choice"? And it's her daughter. This pisses me off. Like, wow. How dare you? How dare you tell a parent? And how dare you do this behind your back? Maybe people, guys, y'all need to be homeschooling your kids or something. I don't know. Get together with family members, see what you can figure out until more and more kids every year are coming out of the schools. And they're just not going to stop. They're not going to stop. The event sparked First Amendment debates with legal group First Liberty arguing. Yes! First Liberty Group is awesome. Liberty Group arguing the interpretation violated free speech and religious expression rights. The CD later invited Swan back on June 26, 2025 to complete her prayer without disruption. Wow. That is amazing. I wanted to do a quick check on the parental laws. Now, I don't know if it's going to go by state, but this has an overview of parental consent laws in the United States. Parental consent laws in the United States govern when parents or legal guardians must approve decisions for minors typically under age 18, particularly in areas like healthcare, education, and personal matters. These laws vary specifically state by state context, balancing parental rights with minors' autonomy and sensitive situations. Below is a high-level summary focusing on key areas with emphasis on medical treatment due to its prevalence in queries, federal laws. Let's see, age. I mean, I went a little too high for y'all. Let's see, age of majority 18. 18 in all states at which individuals can consent independently. Apparently, guys, you guys in Virginia, I just saw something earlier today that you can't buy a gun if you're 18. You got to wait till you're 21. Something to that effect. Default rule, parents, guardians must consent for minors' medical treatment unless an exceptional applies. Exceptions apply. Emergencies are emancipation, exceptions, I can't even talk, emancipated minors, court ordered, and situational like marriage or military services are treated as adults and can consent without parents. Ooh. So there's some exceptions to that. Mutual minor doctrine. Some states allow mature minors, often 14 to 16 plus, to consent if they demonstrate and understand specifically for reproductive or mental health care. I still think that's too young. We're all stupid still at 16. Federal influxes. Title X funds confidentially families planning for minors. HIPAA protects minors' records for the consent to care. Parents consent in medical treatment for minors. Parents generally must consent to routine medical, dental, surgical, and mental health care. So why wouldn't this be for trying to get their junk cut off? Exceptions exist for sensitive services to encourage minors to seek help without fear. The table below summarizes common expectations where minors can consent independently. What? Conception, family planning. Let's see. Minors can receive life-saving treatment if parents are unavailable or liable for providers. Any minor can consent. What is this? I hate it when it does this. It has this thing you got to move back and forth. It's driving me nuts. Let's see if I can get this in here. Here we go. HIV testing. Any minor consent. Let's see. I'm messing this all up for y'all. I know. It's pathetic. Let's just drop down to here because a lot of that was just a blah, 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 blah. Parental consent for gender-affirming care for minors. This area has been rapid changes with 27 states enacting restrictions or bans on. GAC, puberty blockers, hormone surgery for transgender minors as of February 2026. We're allowed parental consent is typically required, but bans override this. Good, because there are some retarded parents out there as well. The U.S. Supreme Court upheld Tennessee's ban in United States versus Skamick June 2025, finding no equal protection violation. Bans restricted effect, prohibits GAC for minors, penalties including felonies for providers, up to 10 years in prison. License revokes in civil suits. Ban injured under state constitution. So there's 25 states: Alabama, Florida, Georgia. Can y'all see this? Georgia, Indiana, Illinois, Kentucky. Boom, boom, boom. Let me bring all that up so y'all can see all those states. South Carolina, Oklahoma, West Virginia, Texas, Utah, Kentucky. Look at all of this. Let's see. Bans blocked, injured. Federal courts found violations, equal protection. Arkansas bans. 23 states. Minors need parental consent or mature minor exceptions. Shield laws and 10 plus. Protect providers from out-of-state subpoenas, extradition, ages 15 plus. Wow. And Oregon can consent independently. Wow, and there's the states for that. Penalties for violations. Varying state, felonies, loss of custody for parents. Ooh. Let's see, GAC is supported by major medical groups as evidence-based, but political data-based often cites detransition risks, low per students, or ideological concerns in non-bind states. Parental involvement is standard unless the minor is emancipated. I said emancipated. Emancipated. Good Lord. Let's see. We got marriage. Minors often need consent. Ages 16 to 17 with parent-judge approval in most states. 4 states have no minimum waivers. Education school policies vary. Some states require consent for gender-related changes, pronouns, but federal title, 6, protects privacy, tattoo piercings, parental consent required in 45 states. Driver's license consent needed under 18. So why is this I'm a little concerned about this one. This one right here. What is this? Protects the privacy. Some states require consent for gender-related changes. No. You leave the kids alone. Well, wow, it's official. Gavin Newsom is facing calls to resign his office because his elderly parole program is about to dump a convicted child abuser into the community. And this is the Sacramento sheriff. And he's saying, how is this okay to let him out? He's saying it's a betrayal. And here we go. We're going to finish up with this. I believe we're finishing up with this story. Let's see. Sacramento County Sheriff Jim Cooper, who condemns Gavin Newsom elderly parole program for granting release to David Allen Foodston, convicted in 1999 of 16 counts of kidnapping and molesting children as young as 4 in Sacramento County. Funston, I guess that's how you say his name, sentenced to 3 life terms for luring victims with toys and candy, and qualifies under California's 2017 elderly parole program, Penal Code 3055, which considers inmates over 50 after 15-20 years served, despite his violent blanket offense, raising questions on eligibility for high-risk cases. Now, this sheriff says he's 62. I think he said he was 62. This guy here, Alan Funston, he's 64 years old. The announcement has ignited bipartisan backlash, including victim statements, over 33,000 posts, engagement. This is insane. This is insane. So he had come up with some bill This says highlighting tensions between rehabilitation reforms, public safety, with similar programs in other states showing recidivism rates around 10 to 15% for elderly parolees per 2022. The DOJ study. So there's no cure. There's no cure. Plus, he's elderly. He's not that elderly. I mean, hell, I'm 60, so this guy's 64. He could still do some damage. No, do not let him out. And why hasn't he been executed? This is the problem. We wouldn't even have to be dealing with this if we'd passed that same law in that other state we just talked about where they wanted to do the, boom. They just take them outside and shoot them. That's what they was talking about. Yep. Just take them outside and do that. That's what I'm talking about, because they have a hard time getting the poisons and stuff that they need to inject. It's crazy. I mean, just use the firing range. Just the firing range. There you go, my guy. Yeah, Gavin Newsom, I don't know how much more to do. Why haven't those people already signed a petition and just called and bombarded for him to get out of office? Because he has destroyed California. Oh, but now, was this the straw that broke the camel's back? That you're going to let out a pedo that did heinous things to children? I guess it's always better late than never, right? This poor woman is a former inmate, Jamay Ally, testifies against the so-called Equal Rights Amendment, which would make gender identity a protected class in the Minnesota Constitution. Are we surprised? In the Minnesota, everything's happening in Minnesota. They got to protect the illegals. They got to protect the fraud. And now they got to protect the gender identity of men pretending to be women so they could go to a women's prison and then they can molest women and abuse women. Ally was housed with biological men who claim to be transgender in Minnesota's women's prisons. Being housed in a facility designated for women but including males caused profound and ongoing trauma. She says every shower felt like a risk. Every trip to the restroom triggered fear. And every night I lay awake anticipating harm. She also goes on to say that they even they'd hand out condoms to the women because they knew stuff was happening. This is insane and demonic. All of those leaders in Minnesota, we need some justice, some divine justice on them. Let's see, so while she's testifying, her testimony opposes SF 473, a proposed constitutional amendment introduced in January 2025 to guarantee equal rights and prohibit discrimination based on characteristics including gender identity, which critics argue could entrench policies allowing transgender women, let's just say men, for Pete's sake, men pretending to be women in female prisons without biological sex-based separations. Ally, founder of the advocacy group Tainted, has protested this policy since October 2025, highlighting Minnesota's 2023 law permitting self-identified gender housing in prisons amid broader debates on balancing men pretending to be women's rights and with incarcerated women's safety. You know what? If they want to just protect them, right? If they just want to protect them, protect the men pretending to be women. Build a separate wing for them. Y'all be together. All the trainee men, all the trans men, they can have their own little prison. And anybody around the country, they can all just beat each other up or whatever they're going to do. Like, put them all in one prison. That's your prison. Since you don't want to be with men, and you're claiming that you feel like a woman, so just build a separate. How many of them can there be? How many of them can there be? I'm sure there's not thousands of them. So they could build a maximum security type of smaller prison just for these trans people. Boom, boom, boom. There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to end the show for us. But last night, Representative Nancy Mace, she says, last night I filed a resolution to publicly release all of the you-know-what harassment violations of members of Congress. Ooh, let's see. Let's see if she does it. She says a lot of stuff. I see that. She's saying we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I'm yet to see some action. So she's saying she's gonna do this. Let's find out. We're gonna hold our breath. We're waiting to see if she's gonna release this, because apparently there's a problem in Congress, which I didn't know about until she wrote this on X. But anyway, remember, like and subscribe. Remember, this book is retarded, and let me know if you have anybody that could be added to that's worthy to go into the retarded book. And they have to be worthy of it. Okay. And you got to be specific. What caused them? What they say and do that makes them retarded. But anyway, always remember, the learning never stops. And always like and subscribe. If you've already subscribed, just remember to hit that like button. It gets the algorithm out. Get some views so people can see me talk a bunch of nonsense. Well, anyway, thank you all for joining me, and have a wonderful day. And always remember, never ever be